The next morning, Lena woke up feeling a strange mixture of excitement and nervousness. The box that had once been her private refuge now sat on the table, glowing faintly in the soft light of her room. For the first time, she felt comfortable enough to let someone help her with it. Ethan had already started his morning routine, checking the ship's systems and preparing breakfast. When Lena appeared, he smiled gently. "Good morning," he said. "Ready to work on your box today?" Lena hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Yes," she said softly. She placed the box on the table and carefully opened the lid. Inside were small compartments filled with strange devices, lights, and symbols she had kept hidden from everyone. Ethan leaned in, examining the contents carefully without touching anything unnecessarily. "It's incredible," he said. "I've never seen anything like this." "Can you tell me what it does?" Lena took a deep breath. "It's more than just a box," she said. "It keeps me connected to my home, my memories, and my safety. It's personal, but it also helps the aliens who will live with me understand humans better." She paused, her eyes flicking to Ethan. "I didn't trust anyone before, but I trust you." Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of her words. Trust was not given lightly, especially in a world so different from Earth. He carefully began helping her, adjusting a small panel that controlled a series of lights. The box responded immediately, its glow steadying as if it recognized his touch. Lena watched closely, her fingers hovering near the edges, learning how he handled it with care. As they worked together, Lena began to speak more freely about her experiences. She told Ethan about Earth, her family, and the journey that had brought her across the stars. She shared stories of loneliness, of moments when she had felt invisible, and of fears she had kept hidden even from herself. Ethan listened patiently, never interrupting, offering small words of encouragement when needed. By midday, they had made significant progress. The box now pulsed with a gentle light, and Lena's initial fear had turned into curiosity and fascination. She laughed softly when Ethan made a joke about his own clumsiness with alien devices. "You are funny," she said. "I didn't think humans could be like this." Ethan smiled. "Humans can be many things," he replied. "We just need the right reason to show it." The calm of the afternoon was suddenly interrupted by an alarm from the house's main systems. Red lights flashed across the walls and a low hum filled the room. Lena's eyes widened in alarm. "The box!" she cried. "It's reacting!" Ethan moved quickly. He realized that the box was not just a device of memory and connection. It was somehow linked to the environment. If it malfunctioned, it could disrupt the entire house, affecting the aliens who lived there. He instructed Lena to step back slightly, keeping her safe while he examined the box. "This is going to be fine," he said calmly, even as his mind raced to understand the sudden surge of energy. "Just stay with me. We can fix it together." Lena nodded, her hands hovering over the edges, ready to assist. As they worked, Ethan carefully adjusted the connections, reconnecting wires and recalibrating the glowing panels. The box hummed in response, and slowly the red alarm lights dimmed. Lena exhaled, relief washing over her face. "You did it," she whispered. Her eyes met his, and for the first time there was no fear, only admiration and trust. Ethan smiled. "We did it," he corrected gently. "You helped too." Over the next few days, Lena's confidence grew. She began exploring the house and its surroundings with Ethan, learning about the alien technology and even assisting him in minor repairs and adjustments. She discovered that her box was more than a personal item. It was a tool that bridged human and alien understanding. Its lights, symbols, and devices could stabilize environments, translate human emotions, and even enhance communication between species. One evening, as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, Lena and Ethan sat together by the glowing windows, the box between them. The city outside shimmered with light, and the aliens in the streets moved gracefully, their forms casting long shadows across the floating towers. Lena looked at Ethan and smiled warmly. "I didn't think I could feel at home here," she said softly, "but now, I think I can." Ethan nodded. "Home is not just a place," he said. "It's also the people who make you feel safe and understood." Their peaceful moment was interrupted when a sudden tremor shook the house. Lights flickered and the box began to pulse rapidly, more intensely than before. Ethan immediately recognized the danger. It was a surge in the city's energy grid, threatening the stability of the entire area. He grabbed the box carefully, shielding Lena, and moved to the central control panel. "Stay close to me," he instructed. "I can handle this, but you need to stay safe." Lena held his arm lightly, a gesture of trust she would never have made on the first day. Together they worked quickly. Ethan rerouted energy flows, adjusted panels, and monitored the box's response. Lena assisted by following his instructions, her hands steady and precise. The box's glow stabilized and the house's systems returned to normal. When the danger passed, Lena let out a breath she hadn't realized she had been holding. "We did it," she said with a small laugh. Ethan smiled. "Yes, we did." The aliens who lived in the house had been watching quietly, and they were impressed. They saw human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability firsthand. Lena's box, once a private and mysterious object, had become a symbol of human capability and trustworthiness. That night, as Lena prepared for sleep, she finally placed the box on the table without wrapping her arms around it. She felt a new sense of confidence knowing that it was in safe hands. Ethan watched her from across the room, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. The first step had been trust, and now a partnership had formed. In the following days, Lena continued to explore her new home. She interacted with the aliens, learning their customs and even teaching them about human habits and emotions. Her box remained a key tool, helping her communicate and bridge the gap between species. Ethan stayed nearby, offering guidance and companionship, but always respecting her independence. One afternoon, a minor crisis occurred when a small group of alien technicians misinterpreted the box's signals and attempted to adjust it. Lena intervened immediately, explaining its purpose and guiding them carefully. Ethan observed, proud of her confidence and assertiveness. She was no longer the timid, fearful woman who had arrived weeks earlier. She had grown, empowered by trust, patience, and the experience of working together. As the sun set again, Lena and Ethan sat by the windows, watching the city glow. She turned to him and smiled fully without hesitation or fear. "Thank you," she said simply. "For everything. I couldn't have done this without you." Ethan shook his head. "No, Lena, you did it yourself. I just helped you see what you were capable of." For the first time, Lena felt at home, not just in the alien city, but in the knowledge that humans could make a difference anywhere. She had begun as a cautious, cold stranger, holding a mysterious box close to her chest. Now she was confident, engaged, and warm, ready to face whatever challenges the alien world could throw at her. The box sat between them, no longer a barrier, but a bridge. Its glow reflected their shared efforts, their growing trust, and the possibility of a bright future together. Lena reached over and touched it lightly, then looked at Ethan with a smile that spoke more than words could. Ethan knew that this was only the beginning. The box held mysteries, yes, but it also symbolized the unique strengths of humanity: curiosity, resilience, and the ability to connect and inspire trust. Lena had discovered these strengths within herself, and he had seen them in action, proving once again that humans could thrive in any corner of the galaxy. Night fell over the city, the twin moons casting silver light across the floating towers. Lena felt a calm she had never known before. She was safe, understood, and connected to her new home, to the aliens around her, and to Ethan, the human who had shown her the power of trust and collaboration. Tomorrow, she would continue exploring, learning, and sharing. But tonight she simply sat by the window, the box gently glowing, and smiled. The journey had been difficult, the world strange and challenging, but she had warmed up. She had found her place, and humans, she realized, had a way of bringing light even to the most distant and alien places. The stars above seemed to shine a little brighter that night, reflecting the bond that had formed, the trust that had been earned, and the promise of more adventures to come. Lena had begun her life on Viridian not with fear but with hope, curiosity, and the knowledge that she was capable of more than she had ever imagined. And with that hope, she closed her eyes, the glow of the box illuminating her face, ready for the next chapter of her life. The days passed slowly on the Aurora, but for Alex, every moment spent with Lyria was filled with discovery. She had begun to trust him, though the weight of her emotions still lingered like a shadow. He noticed the little things, the way her hands trembled when she was nervous, how she avoided certain areas of the ship, or how she stared at the stars with an intensity that seemed almost painful. Alex wanted to understand her fully, but he also knew that some things could not be rushed. One evening, while Lyria sat at the observation deck, watching the twin moons rise, Alex decided to ask gently, "Lyria, I want to understand, why did my words make you cry?" She looked at him, eyes shimmering in the dim light. For a moment, she did not respond. Then slowly she raised a hand, pointing toward her chest and then toward the horizon. Alex realized she was trying to show him something about her past, something she could not say in words. He nodded, letting her lead. The next morning, Alex followed Lyria to a secluded part of the ship, a section that had been unused for years. There she touched a panel that opened to a small room filled with holographic images. At first, Alex was confused, but as the lights shifted, he saw scenes of her home planet, cities built on crystal towers, vast forests glowing under a purple sky, and beings moving with grace and purpose. Among them, he saw her family, her friends, and a younger version of Lyria, laughing freely under the alien sun. Her hands shook as she traced the images, tears rolling down her cheeks again. Alex realized that Lyria had been separated from all of this, her family, her home, her life. Her species had strict rules about emotional restraint, and expressing love openly was considered dangerous. To say the words, "I love you," to someone outside her society could be a threat to her safety, or even her honor. Alex reached out, placing his hand over hers. "I'm here now," he said softly. "You're safe. You don't have to hide anything from me." For the first time, Lyria spoke a single word, hesitant but clear. "Alone." Her voice was musical, yet filled with sorrow. Alex understood instantly. She had lived much of her life alone, unable to share her true feelings. His simple words, "I love you," had broken through a lifetime of isolation. Over the next few days, Alex helped Lyria work through her emotions. They spent hours in the ship's garden, surrounded by alien plants and gentle light. He taught her small games humans played to express joy, like tossing stones into water and watching the ripples. She laughed softly when she missed, and he smiled at the sound, realizing it was the most beautiful music he had ever heard. One night, while observing the planet below, Alex noticed Lyria staring at the horizon with a distant look. "What do you see?" he asked. She hesitated, then pointed toward the planet's surface where faint shapes moved through the forests. Alex squinted and saw a small group of Vairalians, her people, approaching. Panic rose in him. "Lyria, are you afraid?" She shook her head. Her hands clasped his. "Not alone," she whispered, meaning she trusted him to face whatever came next. When the Vairalians reached the ship, they were cautious, suspicious, and visibly tense. Alex stepped forward, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. Lyria stood beside him, her presence commanding despite her earlier fragility. The aliens spoke in a language Alex could not understand, but their tone was urgent, almost pleading. Lyria finally spoke, her voice trembling but firm. She explained, slowly, carefully, with the help of the translation devices, that she had been rescued from a dangerous part of their planet. Her people had assumed she was lost forever, and the emotional restraint that governed her society meant that seeing someone confess love could be alarming. She had cried because Alex's words were not only beautiful, they were unprecedented. No one had ever shown her such trust and honesty. The Vairalians looked at Alex with a mixture of awe and confusion. Here was a human, a being from another world who had shown courage, compassion, and emotional intelligence beyond their expectations. They did not fully understand his actions, but they sensed their importance. Over the next hours, Alex and Lyria worked together to explain the human perspective. Lyria's people watched as he treated her with respect, care, and gentleness. He did not push her to speak, did not force her emotions, and never sought personal gain. Slowly, they began to understand. Love, in its truest form, transcended rules, laws, and even species. After the first day of tense introductions, Lyria led Alex and the Vairalians to a crystal grove, a sacred place where her people connected with their ancestors. She knelt and touched the glowing crystals, showing Alex the rituals of her species. Each movement was deliberate, filled with meaning. Alex observed carefully, mimicking her gestures where appropriate, learning not only about her culture but about the strength and depth of emotion her people carried beneath their disciplined exterior. That night, as the twin moons rose again, Alex and Lyria sat together in silence. She finally spoke more words in English, hesitant but clear. "Your words, safe, heart safe, cry happy and scared. Alex smiled gently, squeezing her hand. "I only ever wanted to show you that love can be safe," he said. "You don't have to hide from it." Lyria leaned into him, her tears soft now, not of fear but of relief. She had spent so long in isolation, in fear of expressing her feelings, and he had given her permission to feel without judgment. For the first time in her life, she experienced the freedom of genuine connection. Days passed, and Alex noticed more changes in her. She began teaching him her language, sharing words that carried emotions humans rarely spoke aloud. She laughed more freely, and her confidence grew. She even helped him navigate the alien terrain outside the ship, guiding him safely through glowing forests and over crystalline hills. Alex learned that humanity had a unique strength, not in weapons, not in technology, but in empathy and courage. The ability to care for another being, regardless of origin, was powerful. Lyria had seen this firsthand, and her trust in him deepened with every passing day. One afternoon, as they explored a shimmering cave filled with bioluminescent crystals, Lyria stopped suddenly. She turned to Alex, her eyes wide. "I want to show you something," she said, her voice steady for the first time. She led him to a hidden chamber, where an ancient artifact rested. It was a small crystal orb glowing softly. Lyria touched it, and visions filled Alex's mind. Memories of her childhood, moments of fear, moments of joy, and finally, moments of loss. Alex understood now fully why she had cried when he said he loved her. She had experienced fear, loneliness, and isolation beyond what most humans could imagine. His simple words had pierced through years of restraint, offering comfort, connection, and hope. He reached for her hand again.
"Lyria, you don't have to be afraid of love anymore," he whispered.
"I'll be with you, always." Her lips trembled into a smile. Tears ran down her face again, but this time they were tears of freedom. She leaned closer, resting her head on his shoulder, letting herself be vulnerable for the first time in her life. Alex held her, feeling a warmth that went beyond the physical. It was trust, it was connection. It was the human heart reaching across the stars. In the days that followed, Alex and Lyria worked to strengthen their bond. He taught her about humanity, our hopes, our fears, our capacity for kindness. She taught him about the Vairalians, their history, their culture, and the beauty of a society that valued discipline and honor. Together, they discovered that differences could bring them closer rather than divide them. The crew of the Aurora watched in awe as the bond between human and alien deepened. They saw Alex's courage not in battle or exploration, but in vulnerability. They saw Lyria's growth, her trust, and her courage to embrace emotions she had been taught to hide. And finally, one evening, as the alien sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with fiery hues, Lyria looked at Alex with a calm certainty. "I understand now," she said softly. "Your love, it is real. It is safe. It is mine to hold." Alex smiled, feeling a joy he had never known. He realized that humanity's greatest power was not technology or strength, but the ability to connect, to understand, and to love. In a universe filled with unknown dangers, this was the force that could bridge worlds, heal hearts, and bring hope to even the most guarded souls. As the stars shimmered above, Alex held Lyria close, understanding fully why she had cried. It was not sadness, but the overwhelming relief of finally being seen, understood, and loved. And for both of them, the future was bright, not just with the possibilities of exploration, but with the unspoken promise of a bond that could survive anything, across any distance and across the vastness of the stars. For the first time, both human and alien understood love, when given freely, could heal, unite, and change the course of lives. And in that knowledge, they found a home in each other, a bridge between worlds, and a hope that no distance or difference could ever break.